I won't lie, I'm a little salty over this last chapter. So I haven't gotten to Ichi the Witch. I'm gonna do a general review, kind of like, yeah, one through this one is gonna be like, this one will be on the latest 2 chapters, and then I'll do one on the rest, and then we'll kind of do it week by week. But the last 2 chapters have been what made me want to actually start talking about this series. I know Ichi the Witch has gained a lot of momentum since it started. I didn't want to talk about the series really until I actually did. Like when chapter 1 started, it didn't have the level of like immediate, I don't want to say immediate because like Kagurabachi had pre-order hype. Ichi the Witch had like immediate hype, I think is the better way to say. Ichi the Witch, when it came out, people really liked it, whereas like Kagurabachi, it was like the previews people went ape shit over. But Ichi the Witch is like really solid right now. I like the opening, I like the world, but I didn't really want to talk about the series again until I felt like I actually wanted to talk about it. I didn't want to just have it on my channel. The last couple chapters have pretty much started giving me exactly what I wanted, because the beginning of a lot of shonens, like the first, like really like the first little mini arc, that a lot of them feel the same, and not in like a bad way, but it's like I knew it was going to be like that with this series, because once we went to go, I'm trying to remember, it's Hisame magic. That was when I was like, okay, this is going to be one of those little bits. And you can look at any other like big shonen manga of this similar style. There's always that like little first mini arc that just it's not supposed to be, oh, here's the mega ongoing story. It's just supposed to kind of like show a little bit about the world, and it's just supposed to kind of get you a taste of what's going on and give an example of what's happening. Kind of like, that was really, I know we had the I'm trying to remember the wolf magic's name off the top of my head. It's gonna bother me. Inu, oh my god, something, I think Inuzami, I can't remember his name. I'm probably saying it really wrong and it's gonna sound stupid, but it was like that one with the wolf. That one I felt like more was like a silly one just to give him an extra magic, and then with like the Hisame one, that was the actual first little adventure. But after that I was like, okay, well, I have a couple posts like talking about it too. It's like I want to see the first real arc. I want to see the first like bit of events that matter to the story, because again, it's like once you get into that, like, I want to say like 10s, like usually like with a lot of Shonen Jump especially, but like a lot of Shonen, once you get past that first mini arc, it's usually in the first, like, they usually try and get it in the first volume, because it's like opening, this is the beginning chapter, and then the like 2 to like 3, 4, 5 is you like exposition, finding about the world and characters and whatnot, and then right after that it's usually, hey, we're gonna have our first little mini arc, and then following that mini arc is like, okay, now we're gonna actually get to story information stuff. And we did get that, because it's like it started out with this arc with like the little mushroom adventure, and that girl, I can't remember how to pronounce her name, Toga Ice, correct me how to pronounce it, please. But it was like, okay, we got this little mushroom set up. I thought it was like, it was fun, but it wasn't as intriguing to me. I was like, okay, this is cool. It was because I thought it was going to be like, getting to know some of these characters. Maybe it's going to give Ichi some form of like power that is useful to him, because it was like the mushroom. I was like, okay, well, what exactly is he gonna do with it? But if he's smart and knows a lot about mushrooms, maybe that's why. It's like, okay, he's gonna have some weird mushroom magic for, I don't know, like it makes spores to do like CC things, distract opponents, maybe illusions or healing, I don't know. But it was in a way where it's like, okay, this is a little fun. And then that one dude showed up, the world hater magic. That was, to me, when the series started to really pick up. Not in like, oh, it was boring before. More of like, okay, this is what I've been waiting for. I want to see exactly what's the tone of the verse is going to be like. Because that's one of the things that's really important. Once you get to that first arc, it's when you see more of the mangaka's writing style of what we're going to be witnessing. And like, for instance, we saw in this one a little bit of talk from the mushroom magic, where he said that witches generally, they use these big, large class spells. Like, they aren't like Ichi, where they're mostly like going, because Ichi looks at it like a smaller style of like more grounded sense of like approach, because he's a hunter. He got all this general training experience without powers. Like, he got it when he just was a dude, and now he has all these abilities, so he can advance beyond where he was already at. But like all these witches, they're going to be going off of what more of the style that they know. And what we saw in the chapter where Descaros fought this guy, that's exactly what it was. Because it was, when Togais was using her spells, I thought they were cool, but they weren't the level that I think that they weren't at the level that Descaros showed. Because like when she did her spells, I think it was a really good display of what you can expect within the series. Because for example, Kyoshi, once we got to the Azudaroth fight, I think it did a great job of the mangaka showing, hey, you know, if you really like really cool like melee combative choreography with like powers involved and like just really cool fluid motion combat like that, this is your series. With Ichi the Witch, it's a similar style of like, I want to show my big display, but instead of it being, you know, more melee combat, it is large like artillery class spells. Because the first one, it's like you see Deskar Shields is what, Iskandar, and it's this like robed set of hands that make these like, I don't know if they're supposed to be light or what exactly, they're crystal or something, these like big kind of rapier spear looking things, and shoots the World Hater magic spell behind him. I was, you know, the only thing that really annoyed me honestly out of like the fight, because it ended up getting kind of off paneled, but it was like, I wish that this dude did at least a second spell instead of just like these weird praying angels. Maybe the manga was like, I need to think of another cool thing, because like this was actually cooler than I thought and it needs to look better. But she ends up just doing like a bunch of her general spells. Like she's got like her cool rapier, like just assumingly just does like these big mega thrust attacks. She's got like her cool owl looking guy that gives information. I really like that. That was probably my favorite bit of her ability so far, because it's smart for her to be able to, like, if she runs into problems, to be like a way to kind of force out information. Because the problem I would assume with this verse, if you were one of these witches, is like if you fought something that like has an unknown trial and you don't know how to get it, I imagine that it can be really shitty. Because I saw some people talk about the fight on Twitter, and it was really cool for one, when she's like, I got a little annoyed where she was like talking about like she doesn't know how many magic she has because she lost count, but we didn't get any new ones after that. Like, come on, you could at least showed one more. You don't have to show me another double page one, but at least show something cool. It's not a big deal. It's more of like, damn it, I gotta wait longer kind of thing. But there's like, people are talking about how like, you know, she did good in the fight because like she you know, split him in half at one point and cut us off. I don't really see that as much of a hype, because he doesn't defend at all. This guy doesn't attempt at blocking or guarding, because we know that unless you defeat their trial, like they will just keep regenerating. They have like a whole setup where like they have a rule specific design to where if you don't stop whatever their thing is, seemingly that they can't be stopped. Because I would assume like if you are a magic, the only way to beat that scenario is if you are outright more powerful than them. And like, you know, the witch, even if they don't have your trial, they are just able to completely smash anything that the magic throws their way, and they just nope it. But like, unless you're in that scenario, I would assume that like they just, like right here, Deskar is like, I don't really see her having a way to win this fight at all, because she's hurt. She's not like in like horrible scenario. Like she's got one of her hair, I don't know if that'd call a braid, what exactly that would be, but it's got like her hair kind of like not in the best spot, like some of her like setup is damaged and her clothing whatnot, her hair's like flowing around. She's got a little bit of blood, but she doesn't look like too bad. But like at the same time, it's like, it's only going to get worse. Like, unless she can figure out a way to get his trial, there's no way that scenario could turn up in a more positive area for her, to where it'll just keep it's just one of those things where it's like you're just throwing gasoline into a fire and hoping it'll put it out. It's not really going to work, because even it's like there's a point where it's like, oh, like they do a combo or like Togai like freezes him and then puts a bunch of mushrooms on him, and then she sets him on fire, and it's just like it does nothing. It doesn't do anything to him. So it's like, well, what do you guys expect for this to do? And I guess like they were obviously like, well, it's more of like, we're just trying to get an idea of what's happening. But then he just kind of nopes and leaves, and there's like a nice moment where he's looking at Ichi, but Ichi's like in like his inner world. It's one of those setups. I didn't even talk about that at all. I feel like that's something I don't really need to go into too much explanation on, just because it's a common thing in a lot of shonen. He's in his own inner world, like the magic's inside of him that he's got. So like anytime he acquires them, they're like in his little spirit, in their little cute chibi forms for him to interact with. And I assume it'll just get bigger from there. But it's just like he was just talking to them, seeing stuff from the outside. There was some stuff at the end of talking about like how he's going to be a sacrifice, but I feel like that's more of like, it's going to have something to do with luring this guy. Like, hey, this something or not, like, the world hater magic. We could tell that he wants to get Ororo from you. So it's like we're gonna use you as bait to try and get you to lure him out, and then we're gonna try and get him again. But we want to keep him somewhere. Like maybe they're like we're gonna use you as bait to get him an environment, and then we're going to all jump him and trap him there and do something with that kind of setup. I gotta do like a talk about the verse in general. I did a reread on it, so it's like I could actually start talking about it a little bit. But like the series in its structure holds a lot of potential, and I can't wait to see what exactly it does differently as it progresses, because clearly like this is like the first display of what this mangaka I feel like is showing us the verse. Is like this is what a top level, as far as the top level magic is like. It's the best you can expect is like he gets bored and leaves. The best you can expect is he's like, okay, I'm done here, I'm out. So the next scenario, it's like if he shows up and he doesn't have that care to leave, is like what are they gonna do? The only thing I would say once we get to that next point, I would love to have someone check the claim that Descaros is the most powerful witch in the world. I feel like this is my guess. This is something I just want to close the video on this. I feel like she's one of the best, but I feel like she's not the best. I feel like if I had to guess, I think she would be like top 5, but there are other witches that are more powerful than her, and she's like one of those characters where it's like the other witches that are stronger than her, like legends that have like centuries old or something, and Descaros is like she's just the up and comer that has like tons of raw potential and capability, but she is not up to the level of all these other guys. Because like just thinking back, this is something that I think it's like 400 and something. It's like 2,000, I think. There's like 2,000 something total known magics. And they have, I think in total, they've discovered like 400 or something. And assuming that, I think someone counted on Page of like how many Descaros has, it's like 26 or something, 20 something. And Togai's has 16. So it's like if you combine them, they have both combined, and assuming that they don't have any that are like neither of them have any that the other one has. So it's like between the two of them, it's like 40 something fully unique ones each. The two of them have 10%. So it's like where does the other 90% go when it comes to all of these other characters and where they're all mixed up at? And so I would assume that if there are other characters that are like really big, then it'd be like, okay, well, maybe like she's gonna be one of them, because like there's got to be at least one of those characters where it's like this character by herself found half of the current magics, and it's like the legendary character that had 100 magics. The first 100 magics were acquired by this one woman alone. She's the legendary witch. Blah blah blah. She's the only character to ever have gotten X, Y, or Z magics that have never been reacquired. Like, that one of those characters is going to show up. The question is just when. But anyway, other than that, comment below, thumbs up the video, friend the like button, subscribe button, check out my other videos. But on that, I appreciate everybody's always subscribing, and thank you all for listening. Bye.